Hi, everyone. Welcome to Working DJ. Today, I'm very excited to be talking to Sydney, who is known by her artist name yNOTi. She is a techno DJ and producer here in Los Angeles. And over the last 2 years, she's played some of our city's biggest and most established parties. And she also has her first original releases coming up this year, all while balancing her career as a software engineer. So I'm so excited to hear kind of your journey into music and how you are blending your tech skills with your music skills and artistry. So, I would personally just love to start by hearing kind of your story in your own words and have our audience hear it too. So, maybe to start, how did you first get into music and when did you decide to pursue production and DJing specifically?
Yeah, definitely. So I feel like music's always been a part of my life, as with a lot of people. I come from a very musically inclined family. Um and yeah, I've just been exposed to just generations of it, honestly, from a young age. One of my earlier memories with music has been my mom would drop me off at school in elementary and middle school, and she would be playing these oldies from the 70s, like disco and funk. And I would be so embarrassed because it was to me, this is old people music. I wanna pull up at school listening to, the modern stuff, but now I, really appreciate that. And so, yeah, I think that laid a foundation for me. I started playing violin. I'm classically trained when I was 5, so that was another.
Amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I'm, again, very grateful for it now. At the time, it wasn't fun to me, but
Yeah.
that was my first foray into just exploring being a musician and creating. And I stuck with that to this day. And yeah, as far as how I got into DJing and production, it's funny. I used to work at Twitch and I was on the music team initially. And
Cool.
yeah, a lot of my coworkers there were DJs for some reason. I don't
Yeah.
know how that played out, but they encouraged me to give it a try, and I pretty much taught myself. I paid for a couple of lessons to make sure I didn't teach myself any bad habits, and the rest is history. And after about, I would say, a year or two of DJing, I started to self-learn production because I wanted to start making my own music and playing my own music and just spreading that out and, giving back to the art world, the music world. Wanted to put something out there. So that's how I got into that as well.
Thing. I have to know, did you ever stream on Twitch as a result? Because I definitely did that for a few months during COVID. And actually, it was really fun to learn the platform and just experience that world.
Yeah, I did it a couple of times and it's surprisingly complicated.
I
At least
know it's a lot of work.
yeah, yeah, but I missed the whole DJ wave during COVID. I wish in hindsight I had started then, but it really wasn't until 2023 when my coworkers encouraged me that I started. So I guess better late than never. But yeah, I did stream on Twitch a few times when I first started out.
Yeah. It's kind of a good way to experiment with getting in front of an audience in
Yeah.
a lower stakes way. Um, I also I was curious, do you still actively practice violin and perform?
Yes. I don't perform publicly, but
Hmm.
yes, I do still actively practice. I think the last time I performed out was in when I was in university. I was in the chamber orchestra. So it's been a little while, but yeah, I definitely am still active.
Nice. Amazing. Well, since you mentioned your work at Twitch, I'd love to also hear a bit more about your software engineering career and, what was the pull to go down that path professionally? What do you like about it? I also work in tech, but I'm not on the technical side. I'm on the marketing side. So I'm familiar, but also familiar with how it works. But yeah, I'd love to hear about your path.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, I think. I think, as a kid, my exposure to Japanese media, I like to think that that's what started everything. So, I always had, this fascination with robots and, technology and
Hmm.
futurism. And I was also very lucky enough growing up to have been exposed to a lot of different just, interests and career paths, and it wasn't until I was in the 12th grade, so right before college, that I went to this, science fair, and this guy I will never forget this. This guy had taken a Dance Dance Revolution mat, and a VR headset, and you basically played Pac-Man in virtual reality, controlling like the direction you went using the DDR. And I thought that was so cool. And so I asked him what he majored in, and he told me computer and electrical engineering. And I was like, I'm going to major in computer and electrical engineering. And that's exactly what I did. And it was very fun, very difficult. And then from there, I think when I was graduating, in hindsight, it wasn't very clear to me what jobs people who had degrees in computer and electrical engineering took. And so I think so many of my peers were going into software that it just like kind of felt like the easier path for me at that time. Not saying it's easy by any stretch, but there was just like a clearer path there. So yeah, the rest is yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
That's amazing. And is there any like particular side of the product that you focus on, or I don't know if that's like a silly question.
Oh, no, not at all. So, yeah, I'm not currently at Twitch, but I have historically worked on product teams, and those are teams that are more customer facing in that we are getting, like, more direct feedback from the customers and making changes based on that feedback. At my current job, I'm doing more back-end work on a product team, so I'm working more with, like, data and storage of that data, whereas before I was doing more front end stuff. So I was actually, yeah, during my time at Twitch, I was working on like things that you would see when you go to the website. So like buttons and different colors and video, the way videos were showing up, stuff like that. I like it all, honestly.
Yeah,
Historically, the product side has been my interest.
that's awesome. And I saw you post recently that you are now like trying to bring value back to the music scene by helping people with tech related tasks. And you also shared a link to your own website, which is so incredible and so like immersive and obsessed. So I'd love to hear what, how you're blending your software skills with your music pursuits. Like, what other ways has this played out? And do you see this as being like a unique advantage?
Yeah, so this is like a pretty new development for me. I came into the underground, LA underground scene with like zero connections. Those coworkers I mentioned earlier who encouraged me to start DJing, like they don't live in LA. Most of them were in San Francisco. Shout out to you guys. So I was trying to think like, okay, how can I give back to others in a way that also makes me like a valuable person to know, you know? I can't necessarily rely on name dropping or having tenure. That's what gave me the idea. I think it's like really important for people to think about like what skills they bring. Like there's some people who they have like lighting setups or sound systems, and it's like you really want to know those people if you're throwing parties. I don't have those things. So like what skills do I have? And so, yeah, I have recently been helping out a few collectives with their websites, making them more accessible, and just like catching people's attention a little bit better to keep their like, to keep like traffic like retention on their sites. And also recently kind of helping a few people out with their EPKs, their electronic press kits.
Yeah.
Yeah, not necessarily technology based, but just kind of like the UI around it is a skill that
Design and
exactly, yeah.
yeah.
It was transferable. And so also, like I have had a few experience in the tech industry, which is like so relevant right now, where I realized like a lot of these companies don't really care about us. And you know what? I want to make sure I'm also using my skills and my knowledge to help people directly rather than, doing everything for a big corporation that could get rid of me tomorrow. That's how I see it. And so, yeah, that's some of the motivation as well.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point, and I'm glad that you called that out because I feel that too sometimes. This kind of ethical pull of like, even if it's not like a big tech company, like
Yeah.
just seeing the direction that technology overall is going in some circles. So I like that idea of kind of distributing your skills to people who really need it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that something that you've ever navigated in, like, conversations with other music people or, like, kind of feeling that ethical divide, I guess? Or is it more just a personal observation?
Would say a little bit of both. It's a personal observation, and then also with the discussion around like AI, for example, that's a huge one
Yeah.
just in music in general right
Yeah,
now.
I know.
Yeah, yeah, I think anyone listening would know exactly what I'm talking about. And Yeah, I do sometimes feel pulled between 2 worlds because the tech world, a lot of people and companies do embrace those things, and then on the other hand, you've got, like, the underground, scenes with, like, these marginalized people, and they're negatively affected by this thing that during my day job is, like, lauded as a great thing, so there is definitely a divide that I've felt both personally and through talking to others.
Yeah. And kind of one thing that this newsletter aims to kind of like get at the heart of is, how people who work and also DJ navigate the dual identities of both. For you, just day to day, do you like to keep them pretty separate or, do you feel like they flow together?
Yeah, I like to keep them pretty separate. I see them as there's definitely like a Venn diagram where there's like an intersection for me, but I like to think of them as like two separate parts of myself or just two separate identities. I turn one off. Actually, that's not true. I kind of turn off my work mind when I do music, but I do still think about music even when I'm working. So,
Yeah,
kind of like one
that's
direct.
very real.
Yeah. So, yeah, balancing the 2, I am lucky in that at least at the last 2 companies I've worked at, like, my manager and coworkers know that I DJ and have, like, embraced, just people having hobbies outside of work. I wouldn't call this a hobby for me at this point. It's definitely something I am very passionate about and am looking to grow in, but yeah, I do still try to just, like, be mindful, like, I'm trying to keep this job too, so for
Yeah,
now, I'll save the music stuff for after, but once I'm clocked out, like, it's 110% music, actually.
yeah. Sometimes it's difficult to like explain to coworkers that it is more than a hobby. Like,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's kind of awkward sometimes, I guess, to like explain that. Yeah,
Yeah, it is. I've actually had a coworker come to one of my shows before.
that's amazing.
Yeah, that was really cool. It was definitely uncomfortable for me for a minute because I was like, "I really hope they don't think that, like, I'm not a dependable, you know what I mean, like, coworker or
Yeah,
employee because of this." Um, I think I make it pretty clear that, I'm getting my work done, so, like, don't worry about what I'm doing outside of work hours.
yeah,
And also I was gonna say, like, I've also had coworkers who, have owned, like, baking businesses on the side. They did, like, catering and I don't know if it's a luck thing, but I definitely have seen instances of people with, like, other little things going on in their personal lives aside from work, so I feel pretty
yeah.
comfortable.
I feel like as long as you're still showing up to work and like showing that you care and like
Right.
putting in your best effort and um like your coworkers trust you and then it kind of doesn't matter
Yeah.
and probably love you more for it.
Yeah, exactly, I agree.
Yeah. Do the two identities ever feel like they are in conflict? Do you go through busy seasons at work where, it just becomes all consuming and you have to like set music aside and how do you navigate that?
Yeah, it's happened a few times because yeah, it's really it actually can be really tough. I'm just thinking about how to word this because right now for me, like, in order to be able to do music, I need my job.
Hmm.
I'm not at the point yet where, like, music is paying my bills or, like, giving me, like, security and, like, a place to live and all of that, and so, like, in a way, I don't wanna say work comes first, but, like, in a way it does, like, I will, like, work extra hard to get what I need done so that I can focus on music. I hope that makes sense.
It does. And I have a similar mindset a lot of the time. And I want to get to a place where I'm better able to like set boundaries and make sure I feel like music is getting as much energy from me as work is. But there are times where it's just not a reality and you have to work into the night. But yeah, that is what allows stability or flexibility at other times.
Exactly. Yeah. Because again, it's like I wouldn't be able to afford even just, like, the production software I use if I didn't
Yeah,
have the money for it from my job. So, like, it kind of feels like a catch-22 at times, but I'm grateful that I have, like, the energy and the lack of obligations right now, I think, or responsibilities that I can put in that kind of time because I know people who do that. So it is, I'm very grateful for that.
And what does that, like, time balance look like for you? Could you walk us through, like, a typical week or typical day and where music fits in?
Yeah, my time management is actually so bad. I'm not even going to
Yeah.
that I have figured out the recipe or the formula, but I would say a typical week, I'll start with, like, a day, because like, the days are almost all the same except for the weekends. I'm very privileged in that I can work from home, so, like, that's a big one. I don't have to waste time in traffic going anywhere. Been there before. So, I essentially like, I wake up early in the morning, I start my work day. If there's something that I can do while multitasking, or if there's some multitasking that I can do, I absolutely will. Like, just this morning, I was in a listening party on Bandcamp while I was waiting for, like, my code to build.
What were you
Yeah,
listening to?
yeah, Techno Records was doing a listening party for a VA, so
Nice.
yeah, so I got to hear, like, for the first be one of among the first people to hear that. That was really fun. But yeah, I try to do stuff like that, like, that doesn't require too much extra effort while I'm working, and when I'm done with the workday, I do anything from go to my I love Pilates, so I go to my Pilates class or go to the gym, make dinner, and then from that point until, like, I wanna say sometimes 1 in the morning, I am producing, or
Mhm.
I figuring out my set list for a show that I have coming up, and that's pretty much how I spend my weeks. If I play on a Thursday night, I ask for an earlier slot so that I can wake up in the morning on Friday. Otherwise, Friday and
In
Saturday.
there.
Yeah, yeah, you have to be strategic about it.
Yeah, you do.
And then Friday and Saturday is just, like, free game, so for
Yeah.
me. So, yeah, just, like, put me wherever, or not put me wherever, but, like, I have more flexibility on what I'm willing to do or play, and yeah, did I leave anything out? I think that's pretty much a typical week outside of, like, maybe collaborating with someone or meeting with someone in the evening during the week to work on a track or work on filming something, so that's a typical week for me.
Yeah. But it's a lot. Like,
It is.
working till 1 in the morning is no joke.
Yeah, and it's always on my laptop. I'm always looking at a screen, so I also have to take breaks to look at other things for a couple of minutes.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
struggle with that a lot, and I typically, like, work out in the morning,
Mm.
so there is no, like, screen-free break in between there. Probably doing the workout after work is a smart move.
Yeah, it works out for me, but I would say working on the morning's nice because you just have, like, you start the day with a boost of energy, so I respect
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Within that kind of routine, how do you also balance all of the other things that come with being an artist, like building your brand, networking, doing social media content? You have a great visual brand that from what I've seen on social. So, yeah, what's kind of your process for like defining that, but also finding the time to execute all of it?
Now I in my, like, career, I'm just firing on all cylinders all the time. So, again, don't have, like, the best strategy there, but, I have quite a few friends who are, like, pretty big in the anime, like, cosplay community. They're pretty big on social media, and their advice to me was to choose, like, for example, a Saturday and just, like, film all your content on Saturday, edit it all on Saturday, and then just have it ready for the upcoming week. So, that's usually what I try to do. I try to, like, spend Sunday thinking about, "Oh, what should I be posting? What do I want to post in the upcoming week?" Or the following week rather, and then the Sat on Saturdays, I typically try to take pictures, film, um, and just, like, plan out, it's just a cycle where I just keep planning and executing and posting. So that's how I handle that part. In terms of, like, branding and artist development and stuff, I read a lot. I read everything, articles, tutorials online. I try to watch, like, YouTube videos by people who are, like, respected and seem like they know what they're talking about, so I have been learning a lot about, like, marketing, business side of things, artist development, branding, like, your artist archetype and all of that stuff, so a lot of
Yeah.
learning too, and I do that throughout the week, so it's just whenever I see something, I'll listen or
Yeah.
read.
And it's all pretty much focused on like brand building and that side of things.
Yeah, I mean, I also have, like, emails that come to me about, like, production tips too, so it it's a
Just like
lot, like,
constant learning.
it's so much, yeah, I'm learning so, so much. I always joke that I wish I had majored in, like, business or something 'cause I didn't
Yeah.
know how useful that side of things is as an independent artist. So I'm just like self-teaching right now or
And
self-learning.
it feels fun when it's for yourself. Like, it kind of
Yeah.
feels like a big experiment, and I love that stuff too, and if I could, like I probably should, and I probably could spend more time, like, digging in and reading a lot of it because it is, like it's all kind of a fun challenge.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very fun. I feel like, because I know that it's like my project, that is what drives me to put in that amount of effort. So there's a
Yeah.
fun to it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there one particular piece of advice that you think has been that you've read or heard that has been the most impactful to what you're doing so far?
Yeah, I think the topic of like brand archetypes is super important because I think it helps you figure out like where you can kind of like fit in and differentiate yourself at the same time. And so I think of things in this in like okay, first of all, there for example for me, right? I consider myself as specializing more so in like darker proper techno. There are a lot of people who play techno, but it's like I'm not doing hard techno. I'm not doing like bounce. I'm in this like category. And then it's like for all the people who are in this category, what is there about me that's different from them? And so I think like that archetype quiz that you can find pretty much anywhere has been like one of the biggest useful pieces of information I found.
And then you, like, build your visual and musical identity around that?
Uh, you know what? I don't. My musical identity, or like at least the visual and outward brand stuff is, that just came from me. Yeah. It's more so
Awesome.
like what kind of things am I putting out there and like how am I framing it came from the architect quiz. But yeah, everything else is like kind of just stuff I was inspired by and that I came up with on my own.
It's awesome.
Thank
And
you.
how did you like, just out of curiosity, I'd love to hear, like, how you decided or were inspired to focus on techno and on the sound that you're focusing on.
Yeah, definitely. So I've been a techno fan since I was a kid. I think this is so funny to me. Yeah, anime music videos were, like, a big thing on YouTube when I was a kid, and I feel like that's where I first started hearing, like, electronic music in general, and so I was really drawn to electronic music and specifically techno at that time. I didn't know it was techno, but in hindsight, I
Yeah.
do now. Uh, yeah, so as a DJ, I was playing techno and tech house, and I think a lot of it depended on like what opportunities were available to me at that point in time. And so over time, I started switching from both genres to just techno. And then from there, as I just got deeper into the scene, I figured out what I really like. And my friends will tell you, like, no matter what genre of music, I'm always listening to darker stuff.
Mhm.
When I was into I'm so bad with genres, to be honest with you, but when I was into bass, for example, I was really into, like, Rez because she had, like, this really spooky thing going on.
I
I
was super into her for a while too. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I love
So cool.
Rez. Yeah, and, like, Chami and Mala, like, they used to be really I don't know what they do now, but they used to be, like, really, like, on the darker side of things, and so I've always been drawn to that. Yeah, so that's how I chose my genre today.
Amazing. I love it. It sounds really good, really, like, cohesive, and I love the mixes that I've heard.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you so much.
crushing it. Yeah. I wanted to also just ask your thoughts on, like, kind of the networking or relationship building side of things. And you touched on this before regarding, you know, building EPKs and stuff for people. But one thing, especially when you're like first starting out, it can mean going out more and like going to meet people, meet promoters in person, like before they'll book you. And what's your experience been balancing that and working on your own stuff and the job?
Yeah. So to be honest, when I first started DJing, I did not have a job. So I had a lot more free time. So when I first got started, like, yeah, I was just at parties, just with my friends at that time because I had the time to be there.
Yeah.
But now that's not something that's stopped for me. Now that I am working and have even more on my plate because I'm producing as well, I'm just like a little bit more strategic about like what parties I'm going to. And you do see the same people over and over at a lot of the parties. So like just the more you go over time, the like more people recognize you. You have to like put in effort to schedule like what parties I'm going to go to, especially if I have shows that same weekend. I try to hit up some place after I've played or before I play.
Yeah.
So it does take some some effort, but I squeeze it in where I can for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a underappreciated aspect of, like, the work that goes into building a career. That's
Yeah.
kind of a nice that you had a chance to jumpstart it a bit.
Yeah, definitely, and I will add that, like, a lot of networking happens online too, so
Mhm.
I
Like
definitely
this.
that. Yeah, exactly, exactly. So that's
Yeah,
important.
I'd love to hear just kind of more inside your mindset. Like, it's clear you have so much energy for this and are so dedicated and putting in the time. What is kind of the biggest source of momentum or fuel or inspiration for you to be going at this as hard as you are, I guess?
Yeah, I've always been, I would say, like, a dreamer, um and I'm also pretty, like, in a good way, like, kind of relentless in a way, like, I
Mhm.
go after what I want, especially as it, yeah, pertains to just, like, my own how I envision my own future, and I'm very, like, I have a lot of internal motivation, actually. So, I don't know why I'm like that or how I became that way, but I am so grateful for it because, like,
Yeah,
I just have, like, a natural drive to go after what I want, and then also, like, I know, like, there's no path that I think anybody can reliably follow. In this journey, of course, depending on, like, what our goals are, there's no one path that I think anyone can reliably follow that will lead to, like, success, and so, because I'm aware of that, I try to be, like, very creative in how I achieve certain milestones.
yeah,
But being creative sometimes means taking the longer path, working a little extra harder, and I'm okay with doing that, so that's kinda how I think
yeah.
about things. Yeah.
I love that. And it sounds like because of that, you're also not, like, comparing yourself to the path or milestones that other people are on, which can be a big trap.
I mean, I know I definitely compare myself. I definitely do, but I
It's
try my
it's
best.
human nature.
Yeah, it's, like, impossible to open up Instagram and then, like, you see just how, like, much
Yeah.
people are thriving and, like, depending
I
on,
have
like,
to
what.
delete the app every once in a while, like, and just,
Really?
like, focus on me. Yeah. 1, because, like,
Yeah.
I'll, like, just be wasting time on there. But 2, sometimes I'm like, "Okay, I'm in my head, and I need to just tune out for a sec." But yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I
yeah,
totally respect that. I have, like, a pretty weird way of using Instagram to, like, protect my mind as well.
yeah,
So, yeah, I understand that.
yeah. Um, if you, like, ever hit a wall, is there anything that you do to kind of reset or get inspired?
Yeah, yeah, I feel like I did hit a wall pretty recently. Excuse me. Yeah, there was, like, this stint where, like, I was not getting booked, and I was so scared I was gonna become, like, irrelevant, and I was just like, "Wait a minute, like, I have social media. I don't need to wait for anybody to book me. I'll just, like, film myself DJing, and I will
Yeah,
reach out to other people." So I just think about ways to, like, go around that obstacle, and if I can't think of anything on my own, like, I'll just reach out to people who I respect and ask for their advice. Yeah.
that's great. Is there anyone who has been a key mentor or, guide for you on this journey?
Yes, oh my goodness. Several people actually, both in DJing and in production, but yeah, I don't wanna name them right now because 'cause I'm just, like,
Yeah, no worries.
not sure, but yeah, I have a mentor for just about every area of, uh, this music journey, so and I'm so grateful
That's
for.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, can be hard to find those people.
absolutely.
Just kinda looking to the future, like, have you thought about going full time with music, and what pulls you toward that, or what makes you hesitate?
Yeah, I've definitely thought about it. I guess I wouldn't say that I'm risk averse, but I am not the type of person to like move somewhere with $5 in my pocket. Like I need to know that there's a job lined up for me or something.
Yeah, I feel
I
that.
yeah, yeah, I need to there's needs to be some kind of stability, for me. Yeah, I would love to go full time with it. That's my goal eventually, but, I mean, for me to feel like that's possible, I have to feel like I've created, like, infrastructure such that I can support myself just doing music full time. And I've also thought about, like, little personal ventures that might help make that more possible. I know a lot of, like, bigger artists do, like, production courses and lessons and things like that, so not necessarily that that's what I would do, but something similar, probably more on the tech side. But yeah, I have definitely thought about it, and I would love to do that eventually.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you, like, see yourself also wanting some other kind of project on the side, even if music was the full-time thing.
Yeah.
Do you have like a desire to continue engineering or coding or something in that realm if even if it was just part-time?
Yes, absolutely. I genuinely love, like, working in tech or well, let me rearrange. Let me say that again. I genuinely love working with tech.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
seeing
I
what
love
tech can do for us.
exactly. I love the art of engineering on its own. So, yes, I definitely would continue figuring out ways to integrate that in some way that would change the industry and help others.
Would you or have you ever explored coding music or like doing live coding DJing like DJ Dave does?
That's so funny. Yeah, I know some people who do this actually. I think it's really cool. I'm personally not interested, so no, I
Yeah.
haven't.
Yeah. Just learning it the regular way first.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I I agree with that. I feel like it's producing is hard enough, just how it
Yeah,
is.
I don't need to code any more than I have to right now.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, is there anything that you wish people understood about the realities of pursuing music while you're also working full time?
Yeah, definitely. I recently had a comment on one of my videos. I like made this like kind of joke reel about how much stuff you have to deal with when you're working and also pursuing music. And someone was like, they said something to the effect of like, it's almost as if they were insinuating that I don't take music as seriously because I also have a job. I
Mhm.
don't know. I think there's like sometimes maybe this like elitism in like you have to be like a struggling, starving artist to be like respected or taken seriously. And
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case because I would argue I don't want to compare, but I would argue it's very difficult to have a job and also do music
Yeah.
at the same time. Yeah, it's tough.
It's something I've asked some other people as well, and 'cause I've felt that way before too. Like, I felt like there are certain, like, conversations or, like, group chats or whatever that maybe I'm not in because I'm not seen as pursuing it at the level as someone who is doing it full time. And so it's interesting that you brought up that you have experienced that. I do feel like there can be kind of a stigma of, like, if you're not all in, then you're not serious about it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I think like there's even more nuance to it as well because I saw recently a post on Threads where someone was saying I hate when people like and granted they were talking about super like wealthy people like quit their jobs and then start DJing and they're like it feels like it takes away from I guess the people who don't have cushy jobs and they're pursuing this because like this is their life and I understand where they're coming from, but I offer, I think, a different perspective in that, not that I'm wealthy or anything, but I offer a different perspective in that for me, DJing is the opportunity to explore something I was warned not to explore because for me, my family wanted me to be able to be stable. And so,
Yeah.
like, I didn't get to go to like school to study like photography or art or even violin. I didn't get to do that. I had to do something that was,
Yeah.
support yourself. Yeah. And so for me, it's like I finally can like do something I love that I was told I couldn't do. And I think that's important to acknowledge as well.
Yeah, like, you're funding yourself, essentially. Like,
Exactly.
you're yeah, investing in your own project, and it is a privilege to have a stable full-time job and be able to, have the income to pursue music, but I agree, I don't think it's fair to say that that's, like, cheating or not being in it for the right reasons or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Does like success this is such a big question, but like to you, what is success for you at this stage of your musical career? Would it be like, okay, I'm able to go full time, so I know I'm doing doing it right, or would it be something else?
Yeah, that is a big question. Yeah, and I'm so early in my career actually that like I know this is subject to change in like 2 more years, but right now I think success is making music that people want to hear, that people want to play, and that people are enjoying. That's a huge marker for me and on the production side, on the DJ side, like I would feel very happy to be like regularly being in demand internationally. I think right now that's what it looks like to me. Again, like as I gain more
Yeah.
experience knowledge, like, maybe that'll change, but right now, that's the shiny, you know, goal at the end for
Yeah,
me.
that's like what's on the vision board.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, this was such a good conversation, and your experience is amazing and really lots of wise words to share. So I guess on that note, are there any pieces of advice that you would want to give to other artists that are on the same path?
Oh, wow. Yes. Oh, yes, I will okay, where to begin? Yeah, I think, like, maybe 2 things. One would be to this is so basic, but, like, you have to believe in yourself because I think you're gonna face a lot of rejections, and that doesn't necessarily mean that, like, you can't come back in the future and be ready. I just wouldn't I You just have to keep going, like, don't let any kind of obstacles, like, make you doubt yourself. Maybe you need to, like, refine something here and there, but I think as long as you believe in yourself, like, other people will eventually see your vision. And the other is just to, like, stay true to yourself. Again, another basic piece of advice, but I think a lot of people are they see, like, certain flashy big DJs, and they wanna be exactly like them, and it's like, honestly, your power may lie in, like, being a little bit different and, forging a new path and standing out in that way, so those are my 2
Yeah.
pieces of advice, yeah.
Yeah. Like you don't have to be for everyone.
Yes, exactly. In fact, it is better not to be in some cases.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And I love the note about really believing in yourself. And that is kind of a constant practice of working that muscle of believing in yourself. Or I'll speak
Yeah.
for myself. But yeah.
No, same for me. It's very
Yeah.
relatable. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you again. Is there anything coming up in the near future from you that we should be on the lookout for?
Yes, there is. 2 things actually. So, I have a big feature coming up. I don't wanna say the name yet, but a huge feature actually for I think it's a big deal for me,
That's awesome.
and then
Like a write up,
no,
like
no,
a
no,
publication?
a mixed feature actually.
Oh,
So
amazing. Cool.
yeah, yeah, with a really well-respected organization, and then I also have an EP coming up in March under Black Techno Matters label. It'll be my first EP, and I'm
Amazing.
very proud of it.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. It's a lot of work to put together an EP.
Yeah, it really
Um,
is. It really is, to make it cohesive and everything.
yeah. Well, I'm so excited to hear it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Um, all right. Well, thank you again, Sydney. And I will go ahead and hit record and we can stay on or hit stop and we can stay on for a second. But
Okay.
thank you again, Sydney. It was really great chatting to you.
Same here, thanks for having me.